my fellow wizards, let me ask you a very important question. Have you ever wanted to be a Keyblade master? Fighting evil, making friends, saving the damsel in distress? You know, the whole hero deal. Well, do I have great news for you. If you want to cosplay as the ultimate Keyblade wielder, there's an ultra cool, ultra rare wand you're going to want to make time in your schedule to farm for. The Loch and Keyblade. Pretty sweet, right? So let's hop right on in and talk about how to get your hands on this bad boy. First, let's talk about location. This wand drops only from one source, and it can be a bit tricky to gain access to, so bear with me here. The wand drops from one very specific mob, the Loch and Key Knights in the Unforgiven Dead Gauntlet. Now, as some of you may know, gauntlets generally cannot be accessed unless you yourself own the gauntlet after paying a hefty price, or you have to be friends with someone who has placed the gauntlet in their house. There are other ways to gain access, like through glitching, but this may or may not violate KI's terms of service, so I won't be detailing how to do that in this video, and you should only do this at your own risk. Anyway, however you gain access to the Unforgiven Dead Gauntlet, your next step is going to be figuring out what tier you want to access. This particular gauntlet has 3 tiers for different level brackets. Levels 1 through 50 can access Tier 1, levels 51 through 100 can access Tier 2, and levels 101 and above can access Tier 3. However, if you're a high-level wizard and want to just farm the lowest level tier so you can go through as quickly as possible, there's a workaround. Gauntlets scale to the level of the lowest level wizard in your group, so if you have, for example, 2 level 150 wizards and a level 20 wizard, then Gauntlet will scale down to the level 20 wizard and be tier 1. The 2 level 150s will still be able to get drops from tier 1, but they'll just be scaled down to that level bracket range. So, you just need to bring along a low-level wizard to farm with you, or do what I did and just make a throwaway alt character to use as a mule to sneak you into tier 1. Thankfully, housing tours and gauntlets don't require anyone to have membership to use them, so you can use them to your heart's content without having to pay a single crown. By the way, for those of you who don't know, you can access housing tours just off the commons in Wizard City by talking to the cat lady inside the building and searching through castles by name or category. Thankfully, there's even a gauntlet section you can look through specifically to find what you need. Okay, so step 1 is to find a usable Unforgiven Dead Gauntlet, step 2 is bring a low-level wizard to get you into tier 1 if you so desire, and step 3 is now to find the mob in question that drops our precious Keyblade. The great news is that the Loch and Key Knights aren't difficult to find because they are literally the very first mob in the dungeon, so you can just keep killing them and re-entering the gauntlet over and over again to quickly farm for the wand. Here's the slightly annoying bit. I cannot confirm for sure that the mob drops the Keyblade at tiers 2 and 3, as I farmed tier 1 of the gauntlet only. The wiki also only confirms the tier 1 mob drops it, so while I think it's likely that every tier of the gauntlet should drop the wand, I cannot guarantee that they do, so if you don't want to waste your time, you may want to stick with farming tier 1 only. And it is going to be a bit of a grind. This is an extremely rare drop, people. The devs have even confirmed that it is the single most rare item dropped in the entire gauntlet, to give you some perspective. In total, I farmed about 5 to 6 hours total, and estimate in that time I did about 150 to 200 runs before finally getting the correct drop, and I had that farming down to an art form by the end. I've seen some other poor souls who took almost 400 runs before getting their drop, so just know this may take you a while. So, what was my strategy to get in and out as quickly as possible? Well, it all came down to my low-level wizard throwaway account, so here's how I did it. You need 2 wizards for this to act as 2 separate roles, the main farmer and the pack mule. First, enter the gauntlet with a high level, ideally max, wizard, and a low level between levels 1 and 50. Make sure you're friends with each other before going in. As soon as you enter, the lower level wizard ports out to the commons, while the max level, who is your farmer, progresses on to the first mob. Meanwhile, your lower level wizard should be heading back to housing tours and returning to the entrance of the gauntlet. I did this by having 2 separate Wizard101 accounts open and running at the same time on one computer so I could jump back and forth between the 2 character windows and move them each independently. Your main high-level farmer character should fight the mob and ideally have an AoE you can use on turn 1 of the fight to instantly kill the entire mob and then check if you got the wand to drop. If not, you would teleport directly to your throwaway pack mule wizard through the friends tab and then immediately both enter the gauntlet again so your max is able to enter at tier 1 again. Rinse and repeat for faster farming. Some extra little advice I have to speed this process up as much as possible is while your main farmer is in the battle and you're waiting for the spell animations to play out, it's a great time to switch to your other low-level character and be moving them back to the gauntlet sigil. I was usually able to get the timing down, so just as my low-level wizard arrived back at the entrance, my max level was finishing the fight so I could immediately re-enter without any delay. Of course, this strategy assumes you're farming by yourself and not with a group, but it's pretty easily adaptable if you want to bring along another friend or two, and one of you just have the lower level wizard on standby so you can all port back to them once you defeat the mob. Once you have all this down, it's just a matter of killing the lock and key knights again, and again, and again until you get lucky with the drop. A minor bonus is that while this mob is rather stingy about dropping the wand, they are quite generous with pet jewels like Spellproof, Spelldefy, and Paingiver, which are incredibly valuable for pet training, so you should have a decent supply of those before you're done. They also drop various crowns, furniture items, and Avalon-themed furniture and bobbleheads, so that's kind of nice too. Anyway, once you get that lucky wand drop, you'll have your very own Honorary Keyblade to flex in the commons, cause it's really all about bragging rights in the end, right? I really do love this wand for stitching, and I hope KI continues to add cool drops like this to future dungeons, because they really do feel unique and special. Alright my fellow wizards, that's how you get the rare Lock and Keyblade wand in Wiz. I'd love to see any photos of Kingdom Heart character cosplays you make with this wand, so send them my way. Also, let me know by commenting below or liking and subscribing if you enjoy this type of shorter form content focusing on how to get one specific rare item, so I know if I should do more in the future. I'll be taking requests if you have any. As always, I hope to see you out there in the spiral, and happy questing.